Hey guys, and welcome back to Book Review Friday. So today's book is a book that was sent to me by the author, so thank you so much for sending me your book. I just want to let you guys know, as always, that just because this book was sent to me does not mean that I am not going to be completely honest. I want to give you guys my full thoughts. I want you guys to know exactly how I feel about books, and I want you to know my full honest thoughts. With that being said, today's book is The Overbridge by Deep Arya. And this book is really interesting. I have a lot of things to say, like always, what's new. But let's talk about the cover first. I really like this cover. I love the colors. I think it looks very murky and spooky and intriguing, which I like the color choice and how like it's almost like a painting, kind of like smudgy. You can't quite tell what's going on. I don't know, I like that. I also think the font is really cool. I like how just crisp and clean the title is, and then I like how the author's name is a little bit more like painty, strokey kind of looking, if that makes any sense. So let me read you the back of the book. It all started with an ominous fog, followed by the screams, the darkness, and the silence. Thomas finds himself abandoned on the overbridge with no recollection of what caused his blackout. Unbeknownst to Thomas, something sinister lurks in the fog, unwilling to allow him safe passage. Thomas soon faces vengeful phantoms, hellish nightmares, and his own paranoia. Death comes to the overbridge. So the back of the book, the synopsis is very short, to the point, but it kind of doesn't tell you a lot, which I really enjoy. You know, I like that. I like being surprised. I like not knowing too much about a book before I get completely into it. With that being said, let me go ahead and give you my synopsis and a little bit more detail. Thomas, who is the main character, wakes up from a blackout and realizes he's stuck on the overbridge. There are dozens of cars all around him, but they are all empty and abandoned, and no one is there. The last thing he can remember is driving home from a custody hearing for his daughter. His ex-wife gained custody of their daughter, and he is very upset by this because his daughter is his world. He loves his daughter, and he keeps thinking about how she lied and she said all these bad things to get custody of the daughter. Like, she was lying, she was making up all this stuff to make him look bad. So he was very upset. However, of course, after this, he does not remember anything. It's just all blank. He had a blackout. Very soon after, he starts running into other people. He runs into Carl, who is a realtor, Henry, who is a 70-year-old man looking for his wife, Allison, who is a police officer, and Emily, who is a little girl. The group realizes that they are encased in thick fog. They can't see anything. It's just encasing the bridge where they're at. It's just completely surrounding them. So they can't see anything, they don't know how to get off, and they can't remember anything. The group decides to venture through the bridge, trying to find a way off. They want to get off. They don't want to be here anymore. They want to get out of this nightmare. They soon realize that they are not alone on this bridge. There is something out there in the fog waiting for them and watching them. So that is pretty much all I'm going to tell you. This is a super duper easy read. It's only 105 pages, so it took me like no time to read it. It was just boom, done. So I don't like critiquing books. It's not my thing. I mean, I like to give my opinions on books, but I really like to stay in the plot area of books. I don't like to critique too much on writing all the time because I'm not a writer. I don't have a degree in literature. I'm not the all-knowing being of writing. I've never written a book. I don't know how hard it is to write a book. I'm sure it's extremely hard to write a book. I cannot imagine. So I don't like to focus too much on things that aren't the plot, just because I don't think it's fair for me, someone who isn't completely knowledgeable in book writing and stuff like that to be critiquing people, but I am going to give you guys a little bit of my thoughts on his writing style just because this is a review and I do think I have a little bit to say, but again, take my thoughts with a grain of salt. I am not the only opinion out there. So sometimes I felt like the writing was a little bit clunky or choppy. This is his debut novella, so I don't know if it's just because he's a new author to me, so I have to get used to his writing style a little bit. Sometimes that happens to me. I do that with Stephen King a lot. Stephen King has a very particular writing style, and sometimes I get a little mixed up when I'm reading it and I have to like really focus. So I don't know if it's just because he's a new author to me or what, but again, this is his debut novella, so he's obviously going to get so much better as time progresses, like every single author out there. I really liked the idea of the plot. I love books that rely on the feeling of being trapped. I think it's a very good plot idea because a lot of people don't like the idea of being trapped. It's very scary. It's very, you know, nerve-wracking and heart-pounding to be like stuck somewhere and have no escape. So I think it's a good idea that he chose that route just because it's a very good way to go for a horror novel in my opinion. I do wish we had learned a little bit more about the characters. You get a little bit of a glimpse into their lives, which I felt like could have played a way bigger role in the plot. I just feel like if we had learned just a little bit more about them, there would have been a smoother connection with the plot, in my opinion. I think there were a lot of things unsaid about the characters that if he had delved just a tiny bit deeper, we would have had like a really, really interesting character development inside of the plot. So I was a little disappointed that I didn't get to know the characters a little bit more because I couldn't really connect with any of them since I didn't know a lot about them. I have to know the character to connect with them. So I wasn't really able to connect with the characters because I didn't have a lot of background information on them. And I do get that this is a novella. It's 105 pages. It's very short. It's very to the point. It's very, very XYZ done. So I get that. But I just feel like if he had maybe added like 20 to 30 pages, we would have gotten just a little bit extra. It would have just been a little bit more punchy, if you know what I mean, if that makes any sense. I just feel like we could have expanded a little bit and that would have been so cool to see within the plot. I would have loved that. Again, overall, I really like the idea of the plot. I love the being trapped. There's something out there watching you. You have to escape or it's gonna get you. Like, I really like that trapping idea in horror. I think it's really smart and I think it's a really good way to go in horror. I do like the little twist that he threw in at the end. I thought it was really good. I do overall really like the book and I think you guys should check it out. I do think for a debut novella, this is pretty dang good. I know I could not do this. I am not a good writer. I would love to be a writer, but I'm not a writer, so I can't even imagine how hard it was to write this book or any book or anything. Like, being a writer is like super hard. I can't even imagine it. So I just know that as time progresses and he keeps releasing books and he just writes more and more and more, he's just gonna get way, way better. But I will leave a link to the book where you can buy it so you guys can check it out for yourselves if it sounds like something you would like to read. So thank you again to the author for sending this book my way. I can't wait to see what other stuff you come out with. I'm sure it's gonna be really, really good. All right, guys, that's it for this book review Friday. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Think about subscribing to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!